Hi guys, welcome to Open the Vaults. It's me, Manny, and this episode is all about the Glasshammer RTT number 1 and the top 3 lists and what they were and why they did so well. Apologies for the slightly shaky camera. I had an operation on Monday and I am just recovering, so I'm in a kind of lie down position, but I have a pillow on top of me. And then I have the laptop on top of the pillow. So there will be slight shaking, and I do apologise in advance. But it will be good. So let's go to BCP and have a look at the third place. So it was a good event. And it was good because it was pretty small. Thank you to everyone who came again. It was a pretty small event, but the players that came were actually really, really good. So it made for very interesting rounds, actually. And so in third place we had Vic VJ, and he was using a very similar list to my Pigeon Punch list. It was Raven Guard successors, and he did some cool stuff in that list actually. I quite liked it. And here we go. Placing third place, Vic VJ. What was he using? So Vic had and it was quite nice actually. He went for Raven Guard successors with stealthy and long range marksman for obviously flamers and other stuff like that. But he went for Minotaurs. So Minotaurs are a chapter, and in the fluff they don't really have a father chapter. It doesn't say who they're a successor chapter of. I don't believe. So there are no rules for Minotaurs, so you can call them a successor chapter of anyone. And what Vic's done is he has taken someone, and that's why he's done that. Yes, he's taken Chaplain Ivanis Enkomi. So Chaplain Enkomi is only 104 points with a Power Fist, and he's quite good. He's Minotaur specific, so you could take him and call your Raven Guard successors Minotaurs. So that's what he's done. And basically, Chaplain Enkomi, he's only like 14 points more than a regular chaplain with a jump pack, but he gives you 2 litanies. So that's one chaplain who's 104 points, and he gives you double litanies. So that's pretty cool. So the list is, in general, there was 1 battalion, a captain with a chainsword and a jump pack and a storm shield, and he had the chapter master stratagem on him. And then we had a lieutenant with a jump pack, also with 2 chainswords, yeah baby. And then we had 6 scouts, 5 scouts, and 5 scouts for screening purposes and stuff like that. Combat knives on everyone. And then the sergeant, and I didn't know this until the weekend actually, until I looked at Vic's list. Everybody has combat blades on the scouts, so they get 3 attacks each. But he also has the option to give your sergeant a combat knife and a chainsword. So he gets 5 attacks instead of 4. So a unit of 5 scouts now gets 17 attacks. Bonkers. Really, really good. So he's got 3 units of those scouts. And that is just a minimum battalion for command points, of course. Then he has the Vanguard, which is also Minotaurs, Raven Guard successor. That's where Chaplain Enkomi is, with a unit of 5 Assault Centurions, a unit of 3 Assault Centurions, all with Hurricane Bolters and Flamers. And then a Company Ancient. And Company Ancients are really, really good, man. Like, to be able to shoot as you're dying, especially with Centurions, is like really, really good. And then we've got the heavy supports in there. We have a unit of 5 Devastated Centurions with Grav Cannons and Grav Amps, and another 3 Devastated Centurions with Grav Cannons and Grav Amps. So there are 16 Centurions, guys. 5 Assault, 3 Assault, 5 Dev, 3 Dev. So a unit of 5 each and a unit of 3 of each. And I think the units of 3 are there as like backup for the units of 5, so to speak. And it's really cool. I really like that. I like the list. And then it's because the ones that are 3 are less power level than the ones that are 5 as well. So you could put them in the sky and things like that, and then have a bigger unit of maybe 5 Devastated Centurions on the board because they're power level 24, something like that. So that's pretty cool. And then we have an Imperial Fist Spear. I love this Imperial Fist Spearhead. This is basically exactly the same as what I've got in my list, this bit, except he has 1 whirlwind less. So Vic has got the captain, and he's got the Hand of Dawn, which gives you an extra D3 command points, which is awesome, and the Eye of Hypnoth, because it makes him a captain and a lieutenant all in one. That's really cool. And then he's got 3 Thunderfire cannons and 2 Whirlwinds with Vengeance launchers. So it's really, really good like support, and it clears screens away for the things like, so that he can put his Centurions in reserve, clear all the screens away over 1, possibly 2 turns with the Thunderfire cannons and the Whirlwinds, and then he can drop in with the Centurions, and they can get to what they want to get to. So that's how the list works. You can clear off the things that are stopping you getting to the juicy targets, and then bring your things in to hit the juicy targets. And he's wrote at the bottom that a Chapter Master, a Lieutenant, a Company Ancient, 3 Assault Cents, and both Devastator Cent squads equal up to 960 points. So I'm assuming that's the chunk he can put in the sky. So the unit of 5 Assault Cents can deploy on the board. Because they're tough, they can screen off your units, they're a counter punch, and also he can redeploy them if he goes first. So that's a really, really nice list, very similar to mine. So I won't go too much into it because I've talked about my list loads. Then we have Ben Jones. So first place and second place went 3 wins each, but first place just scored 5 more points overall than second place. And also, that you can see that these 3 lists are really strong because Vic went 2-1, and the only game Vic lost was to second place. So Vic came third, and his only loss was to Ben Jones, who was in second place. So well done, guys. These guys had really good games against each other. And Ben Jones was using Eldar Flyers. So it was Eldar Dark Eldar mix, and he had a Spearhead detachment of Drakari with an Archon, 1 unit Cablite Warriors, 3 Ravagers with Disintegrate Cannons, and 2 Razor Wings with all the Disintegrate Cannons. Then there was a Supreme Command of Eldari, an Autarch, Skyrunner, Farseer Skyrunner, and Warlock Skyrunner, so that he doesn't get tabled, basically. And then there was an Airing detachment of Craftwolves, and that was 3 Crimson Hunter Exarchs with the Marksman's Eye, and he'd gone for 2 Bright Lances on each one rather than Star Cannons, interesting choice, and then 2 Hemlock Wraithfires. We all know how Eldar Flyers work. He's gone flying around the board, zapping people, beating people up basically with shooting, and basically killing all the stuff that can charge his planes and stuff like that. So all the things that are going to be most damaging to his planes he can pick up quite nicely, because he's got 7 planes, man. Double Hemlock, double Razorwing Jet Fighter, triple Crimson Hunter Exarch, but then he's also got 3 Ravagers on top of that. It's an immense amount of firepower, so that's really, really cool. Robert, glad to see you're out and about, Manny. Thanks, bro. It's a hard road recovering from surgery, but I am feeling a lot better, and it's the only reason that I wasn't really at the Amsterdam tournament this weekend. Otherwise, I would have gone there if I was feeling up to it. But never fear, Element Games Grand Slam is next weekend, and I'm going to that. So I think I'll feel better by the weekend, and I'll be on my feet and playing a tournament on the weekend. So you'll all see me back in action. And we could talk a little bit about some of the lists that people have submitted for it, actually, because I believe they have just gone live. But before that, we need to talk about these lists. So, yeah, there's 7 planes and 3 Ravagers. It's just firepower everywhere. So much firepower. And his game with Vic was very, very interesting, because it was less about shooting stuff off the board that was already there. It was more about killing some of the things on the board, but zoning off as much of the board as possible so that Vic couldn't drop in places that he wants to drop in. And Ben played that game really, really well. And it was quite close at some points, but I did watch the part where Vic's Grav Sense were shooting as they were dying and did like no damage at all, and then a unit of Grav Sense came down with full rerolls to hit and then full rerolls to wound with gravitic amplification, and they didn't do a single wound to a plane. So Vic did get quite unlucky there, and things didn't go his way, but Ben played very, very well, not taking anything away from him at all, and he won all 3 games and came second. So that's really good. And then in first place, actually winning his first event ever, I believe, coming That's his first place. He's finished on the podium multiple times, but that's his first place result, and I'm really made up for him because he's an absolutely lovely lad. We have Stephen Box from Vanguard Tactics. So Boxy absolutely smashed it on the weekend. He did very well, and he was running an Iron Hands Successors Brigade detachment for the command point, so he can do lots of juicy stuff. So Boxy's list, if you have a look at it, he had 15 command points minus 4, which made 11. So extra warlord traits and relics, I'm assuming, and making someone a character, probably. So he had a brigade detachment, and it was Iron Hand Successors, and he went for Master Artisans, because that's really good. Iron Hands is normally quite a few like single units or units that fire 1 or 2 big shots at stuff. So if they get 1 reroll to hit, like a proper reroll to hit, and 1 reroll to wound, on top of their rerolling ones naturally with heavy weapons, they can do a lot of damage. So it's very good for them to have Master Artisans. And he has Stealthy, of course, because if people don't want to engage you and they want to deal with you from far, they're going to have to deal with the cover save. So that's really cool. I like that he's done that. Then he had a Primaris Chapter Master. So there's 2 command points gone on the Chapter Master, with a Master Crafted Stalker Bolt Rifle and target protocols, and his relic was the Vox Espiritum. Then we have a Primaris Lieutenant with a Master Crafted Stalker Bolt Rifle also. And we had the Field Commander Stratagem because he was Grey Shield. So I'm assuming one CP has gone for Indomitus Crusaders detachment, 1 CP has gone to take the Warlord trait from there, and then 2 CPs have gone on the Chapter Master. That's where his 4 CPs were spent before the game. Well spent 4 CPs, in my opinion. So Primaris Chapter Master, Primaris Lieutenant, and then the 3rd HQ was just a Tech Marine, cheap little Tech Marine. Then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units of 5 intercessors. Nice. All with Stalker Bolt Rifles for the extra damage. And it's really good on Iron Hands. It's really good on Iron Hands because they don't suffer the penalty for moving and firing with the heavy weapons. So the heavy gun on them is really good. And also they reroll 1s naturally by themselves. So it's nice to have them by the Chapter Master, so they can get full rerolls to hit. But even if they have to go out on their own, they're still not suffering any penalty for moving and firing their heavy weapons and rerolling 1s, so they're really tough. And then you can Grey Shield them to be Imperial Fist for a turn, so they can ignore cover, be -3, and so ignore cover and be -3, flat 2 damage, and then also any 6s will explode because they're Imperial Fist for a turn. It's so good. And then there was 1 unit Scouts. That was the 6th troop choice. 1 unit Scouts to screen with, I'm guessing. Or possibly because points were tight. Then as elites, we have an Apothecary. Nice, can bring those back from units. A Primaris Ancient. Lovely. As those intercessors die, they'll all be shooting as they die. So that's really good. The effectiveness of that banner is really good. I mean, it's the price of like 4 intercessors, but over 25 of them, 12 should fire as they die roughly. So he's the price of 4 dudes, but he makes 12 guys fire back when they die. So he easily makes up for the guys that you lose, like easily. He's definitely worth his points. And then there was a Venerable Dreadnought as the 3rd elite with a missile launcher and a twin las cannon. So I'm guessing that guy was made a character because they're really good as characters. You know, just take 1 Dreadnought in an Iron Hands army, make him a character so he can't be shot, and it's reliable firepower every turn. Then in fast attack, there were 2 land speeders. These were a bit of an odd choice, but I believe it's because that's what Steve had at the time. So he's done it with land speeders, bringing land speeders into the meta. So he's got 2 individual land speeders in their own units, with heavy bolters and Typhoon missile launchers. So I mean, without suffering penalties to moving and shooting is really good for things like Typhoon missile launchers. So these land speeders can move quite far to where they want to hit the right target, and then they can fire their Typhoon missile launchers and hit on 3s, rolling 1s. It's really good. And then he's got 1 free reroll to hit. So he's got 2 shots. He's hitting on 3s, re-rolling 1s, and 1 re-roll free. So that's really good, really reliable. Then when he wounds, he's strength 8, and he's got 1 re-roll to wound as well. So I really think that they are a decent unit in this list. And then On top of that, there was another 3 fast attack choices, and it was 3 suppressor squads. Now, these are really, really good as Iron Hands. So they're a 90-point unit, but they fly. They move like 12 inches or something. They can come in from deep strike for free, and also they fire 6 auto cannon shots pretty much. But because you're in the Devastator Doctrine and your Iron Hands, you're going to be hitting on 3s, re-rolling 1s with 6 shots that are strength 7 minus 3 flat 2 damage. It's really, really, really reliable. Really, really good shooting. So the suppressors are awesome in that list, in my opinion. And then you have heavy support, and he's gone for 2 eliminator squads, dealing with characters and things like that. And then a whirlwind with a vengeance launcher. Now, the whirlwind, in my opinion, I think is there to deal with opposition thunderfire cannons. It's quite nice to have a whirlwind vengeance to deal with thunderfire cannons, because they wound thunderfires on 3s, and then thunderfires only get a 4+ save against them. Oh, well, they get a 3+ save against it. It'll be -2. So yeah, they'll get a 3+ save if they're in cover against this. But when he pops Imperial Fist for a turn, oh no, it won't work on them. It won't help them ignore cover because they're not the keyword for Grey Shield. Oh, that sucks. But yeah, so it's -2, and he's always going to be in the Devastator Doctrine, which means Thunderfires in terrain will be getting a 3+ save, and as soon as they fell 2, it's a dead Thunderfire cannon. So that's brilliant. And then there are 2 Storm Talons in the flyer slot. Storm Talon gunships with twin assault cannons and 2 las cannons each. Really nice anti-tank support there. Having 4 las cannons in the army like that on top of the ones that the character Dreadnought has is very reliable. But also, I was talking to Steve about it, and I was like, the Stormhawks are better, and he does agree, but he just didn't have the models fully ready at the time, so he bought what he had. And I think his list is actually very, very good. I think what makes it, the components of his list are really, really good. But I think what makes the list what it is the fact that he's Iron Hands. Because being able to fully ignore the penalty to move and shoot heavy weapons on top of re-rolling 1s is very, very big. But then on top of that as well, he's got his stealthy and his master artisans, which is really good on his big guns, like the las cannons and stuff. But also, on top of that, he's taken a brigade, which gives him 15 command points. Now, that can be brutal if someone could perhaps shoot his dreadnought on one turn because they got him a little bit closer than the rest of the army, but they've only got enough firepower to basically like just about kill him. Then you can half damage on him, and all of that kind of stuff. You can heal with a Tech Marine, then you can pay a command point to heal someone else with a Tech Marine, and there's so many things that they can do with the stratagems that it's really good for him having a brigade in his army. But it's not just the brigade either, because he's got it is the brigade. What I was going to say is it's not just the offensive buffs that he can put. There are some really good defensive ones, for example, like the ones to half the damage on the Dreadnought, but then also the ones to take half damage, but only be wounded on 4s with your troops and stuff. So transhuman physiology. He can do that on units, like if you're going for some suppressors and he really doesn't want those to die, he can make you wound them on 4s with his big guns and stuff like that, which is awesome. And also, like the intercessors, if he's only going to lose like 1 or 2 intercessor squads, but he really wants to only lose maximum 1, he could use transhuman, and then 1 squad would be a lot more survivable than others. It means all of a sudden means things like missile launchers and las cannons that would normally wound your infantry unit on 2s are now wounding on 4s minimum. So that's really, really good. I like that. So there you have it, guys. Those are the top 3 lists for the RTT number 1, and that's why they play so good. That's how they play and why they've done so well. So congratulations to the boys that came. Thank you to the boys that won, and thank you very much to everybody who came. I will be doing on Friday, next Friday, and open the vaults, and it will be about the Element Games draw. It might be on Thursday. It depends. It could even be on Wednesday. It will be whenever the first round draw is done for Element Games Grand Slam, and we'll cover some of the more interesting matchups that come up and what lists they've taken. I was going to do a little bit today about some of the lists that had come out, but I think it's better if we do it when the pairings are done, so we can look at the most interesting matchups and talk about their lists, because we'll only have a certain amount of time. And then I'd be sure to tune in on Saturday as well while I'm there in the evening. I'll try to get the person who's in first place at the end of Saturday on to give us a little talk about their list and what they're using and why it's doing so well. And yeah, that's it. Very much. So thank you very much for watching, guys. And I will. As well, guys, Sisters boxes. I know everybody is after Sisters boxes, but we have sold out. We're all out of the Sisters boxes. And one last announcement. So the RTT number 1 did very, very well. And all of the lads who came to the RTT number 1 really want to come to the next RTT. And for that reason, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We would like to give you all 5 weeks notice of the next one dayer. And it will be in December. And it will be on Saturday, the 21st of December. It's like a pre-Christmas one-day tournament for everybody. Chance to play 40k away from like your kids and stuff. Because I know loads of people are spending Christmas with their families, but it's nice to get away for like a day. And it is like 4 days before Christmas, so be a nice break for everybody. The 21st, that is, guys. Put it in your calendar. Saturday, the 21st of December. And tickets are going on sale for it tomorrow at 6 PM UK time. So I hope to see loads of you guys in December. And thank you very much for watching, guys. I will see you all on Wednesday, possibly Thursday next week. Thanks for watching. Bye.